Low water levels are causing chaos in Germany. This is today's article, October 27, by David Rising on phys.org, having to do with the drought in Europe. We know that there's many rivers in Europe, the German rivers, for example, that are so low that in a lot of locations they just can't navigate anymore because there's no water. As you can see, one picture here. The hot, dry summer left German waterways at record low levels, causing chaos for the inland shipping industry environment, causing damage and billions of euros of losses. Scenario that experts warn could portend change in the things to come, and global temperatures as they rise will just make this worse. A new island in Lake Constance, for example, a river in Berlin, flowing backwards, dead fish on the banks of lakes and ponds, barges barely loaded so they don't run aground. A hot, dry summer has left German rivers and lakes at record low water levels, causing chaos for the inland shipping industry, environmental damage, and billions of euros in losses, a scenario that experts warn could portend the future as global temperature rises. The drought-like conditions have nearly hit 90% of the country this year. In Magdeburg, the Elbe River has been so low that no ships carrying goods south to Leipzig or to the Czech Republic have been able to pass through since the end of June. Since Hartmut Rhein of the city's waterways and shipping department, the river's down to a depth of about 50 centimeters. That's less than 20 inches. I mean, that's nothing. It's just basically up to your knee, less than the height of a knee. And when at least double that level is needed for normal shipping traffic, he said. At the moment, the only possibility is to completely unload ships and transfer their cargoes to other means of transport, for example, like trucking or train. The situation is similar across Germany. The mighty Rhine River has hit the lowest water levels ever at several points, and other major rivers like the Danube River, the Wesson, and the Main are all far below normal. This castle here, for example, is from the 14th century, sits on a sandbank in the River Rhine in Kalb, Germany. During historical low water levels, a hot, dry summer left German waterways at record low, as we said, causing chaos for inland shipping industry. On the waterways that are still navigating, the lower water levels have actually led to increasing shipping traffic as companies pack less weight onto boats so they don't ride so low in the water. That means that they must send more vessels out to carry the same amount of freight. All the ships in the Rhine are going through. Look at this thing here. Look at this. That's how shallow it is. All the ships, they have pictures here. All the ships on the Rhine are going around the clock to transport goods that would normally be on fewer ships, said Rolf Nagelsmith of Cologne's Waterways and Shipping Office. He says at the moment everything that can float is being loaded up. This has sent freight prices skyrocketing, and some costs are already being felt by customers with higher prices at gas pumps and for home heating oil. Chemical giant BASF has been forced to cut production due to a lack of transportation. On Friday, the company lowered its yearly profit forecast after a slowdown in the third quarter, partly from the extra costs incurred due to the low levels of the Rhine, which flows past its headquarters in Ludwigshafen. And more pictures, drastic pictures. Germany's economic minister said Friday it has taken the unusual step of authorizing temporary access to Germany's strategic fuel reserves in areas where supplies have not been able to get through due to the shallow waters. With such widespread drought, Germany's agricultural industry is also struggling. There have been shortages of feed for the livestock, and the country's grain harvest is forecast to drop 36 million tons this year compared to an average of about 50 million tons over the last 5 years. According to the Center for Disaster Management, that's quite a big difference. That's almost a 30% decrease. If you look at the overall economic effects, we're talking certainly in the double-digit billions, said the center's Michael Kuntz. Northern and Eastern Germany saw their warmest summers ever recorded in 2018. The Central Germany has its lowest rainfall ever, according to the German Weather Service and DWD. Climate change means not only an increase in average, look at this thing, an increase in average temperatures, but also in the increase of extreme events, said DWD Vice President Paul Becker. This year's summer has been exceptional with this intensive drought and prolonged heat, but we expect an increase in such extreme periods in the future. From April through August, the high pressure zone set over Northern Europe and a low pressure zone blanketed the south. That created a blocking situation, quote unquote, that produced the unusual weather, said Frisia Vomberg, senior climate scientist with Copernicus Climate Change Service, a European Union information service. During that whole time, most of Northern Europe was warm and dry, and the Mediterranean was wet. Most of Germany has been right in the middle of the dry zone, while there has been some relief from the drought in the British Isles and Scandinavia. The drought is still plaguing Germany, however. Sandbanks have appeared on the Rhine. Look at this. Unbelievable. That have not been seen before in modern history. On the Austrian part of Lake Constance, which is shared by Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, a 10,000 square meter, that's 108,000 square foot silt island has appeared. Unexplored World War II munitions are also popping up. Unexploded World War II munitions are popping up, most recently with the 1,000 kilogram, that's 2,200 pound American bomb being found on the exposed bottom of the Rhine near Neuwied this week. Experts say some 3,000 bombs were dropped in the area as the Allies sought to destroy the railway bridge, but only a few actually hit their target. In Berlin, the Spree River, which normally flows into the Havel River in the western part of the city, has been taking water in from the Havel instead, said Dirk Echlert with the city's environmental department. It's flowing backwards, so to speak, he said. And here you see another river which is hardly there. The whole thing is just dry. So a family of beavers living in the German capital center, Tiergarten Park, has attracted a lot of attention for taking matters into their own paws. They built a new dam about 6 weeks ago to keep the area wet, but that just dried up other areas. Ehlert said they wanted their old water level back. Other wildlife has been less able than the beavers to cope. You can see here these mussels are gone. So other wildlife less able to cope than the beavers. Hundreds of tons of fish and countless freshwater mussels have been dying as waters have receded, said Magnus Wessel, head of nature conservation policy for the environmental group Bund. Causes for the die-offs include greater concentrations of pesticides and other toxins due to the lower volume of water, boat traffic riding closer to the riverbeds, the increased number of boats on the rivers, and less oxygen in the water. And this is unbelievable. The Rhine River is almost not there. This is Cologne, Germany. Look at that. There's nothing there. You can almost walk across. And more pictures of the rivers that are just disappearing. Rhine River in Dusseldorf. Historic low water levels. Hot, dry summer has left German waterways at record low levels, causing chaos for inland shipping. And here they're just walking across from one end to the other. People walking over stones, looking out over the River Rhine to the Musselturm, the Mice Tower of Bingen, Germany, which usually sits on an island. Amazing pictures. Look at this thing. The Rhine River near Oberwesel, Germany during historic low levels. Here we go again. Look at this. So that's a lot of traffic on the very, I guess that's one of the few rivers that has enough water for the traffic to travel on. Cargo ships passing the sandbanks in the Rhine River near Oberwesel, Germany, and more here. This castle from the 14th century sits on a sandbank on the River Rhine in Kalb, Germany. So I'll leave a link below for you for this on phys.org.